Hello everyone and welcome to the 2024 Northern Illinois Open. This is a course preview for Roling Knolls. The Northern Illinois Open is a PDGA B-tier event hosted by the Birdbrain Disc Golf Club. This event will be 3 rounds over 2 days at both Roling Knolls and Shady Oaks Disc Golf Course. Thank you for playing. This video will go over any out of bounds and pin positions for the course. Hole number 1 is a par 3, 285 feet, and we're playing to the long pin location. Hole 1 does not have any out of bounds to speak of. As is a theme here at Roling Knolls, off the fairways can be a little bit rough, so make sure you're using your eyes and make sure you're being a good spotter for you and the rest of your card mates. Hole number 2, par 3, 356 feet in the long location as well. And again, a little rough on both sides of the fairway to begin the hole, so make sure you are watching all discs. We don't want to have any lost discs out there. There's no out of bounds to speak of on hole number 2. Hole 3 is a par 3 perched up on a mound in the short pin at about 285 feet. Out of bounds on hole 3 will be on and over the gravel road to the right. Hole number 4 is in the long location to the right, measuring in at about 273 feet. This is a par 3 with no out of bounds. Hole number 5 is in the short pin location, measuring in at about 353 feet. The out of bounds on hole number 5 will be on and over the same gravel road that was used on hole number 3. Hole 6 is in the short pin location, measuring in at about 318 feet. This par 3 has no out of bounds, however both sides of the fairway are quite tall and quite rough, so make sure that you're using a spotter to make sure that no lost discs are being taken. Hole 7 is the final par 3 of the 7-hole par 3 stretch to start the course here at Roling Knolls. This is a 285-foot par 3, no out of bounds on hole number 7. However, as is the theme here at Roling Knolls, that right side rough is quite tall and thick, so make sure that you're using your spotter eyes. Hole 8 is the beginning of our par 4 stretch here at Roling Knolls, measuring in at about 650 feet. This winds downhill and we are playing to the right pin location. The out of bounds on hole number 8 is over the fence off to the right-hand side. Any water that is found on the left side of the fairway is treated as casual water. Hole number 9 is the second par 4 of the stretch, measuring in also around 650 feet. This one also travels downhill and we are playing to the left pin location. There's a fence to the right-hand side quite far. If you do go over the fence, that is out of bounds, as is Kuzniar's Creek, which is long of the rough that you see behind the basket. In or over will be out of bounds. Any water in the rough on both sides of the fairway is treated as casual. And we enter the back 9. Hole 10 finishes a 3-hole par 4 stretch. We're going back up the hill this time, measuring in at 600 feet. We're playing the long pin location at the very tippy top of the hill. There's no out of bounds to mention on hole 10. However, the casual water on the left is exactly that, casual. That concludes our par 4 stretch. We come into hole 11, a valley par 3, 250 feet. We're playing to the short pin location on hole 11. The drone is flying up to and over a path that you see in front of you. Completely surrounded by that concrete path will be treated as out of bounds. Short of the path is safe, and clearly long of the path is safe as well. Hole 12 is in the long pin location, measuring in at about 230 feet. You're throwing down the corridor with rough on both your left side and a little bit on your right side as well, to a downhill tapered green that has another drop off right behind it. There's no out of bounds to speak of on hole number 12. Hole number 13 at Roling Knolls is in the short pin location, measuring in at about 215 feet. This is a downhill gap shot with very thick rough on both sides of the fairway, so please make sure you're using a spotter on this hole for any discs that don't land near the basket. Out of bounds on hole 13 includes on and over the path long of the basket. Hole 14 is in the long pin location, measuring in at about 282 feet. There's a path off to your right that does play as out of bounds on and over, but it is quite hard to access from this hole. No other out of bounds to mention on hole number 14. Please make sure that there is not a group near the tee of 15 when teeing off on 14 to keep safety in mind. Please and thank you. Hole 15 at Roling Knolls is 220 feet, playing to the long pin location. This hole will be an island hole. Any tee shot that does not come to rest within the confines of the island will proceed to the drop zone, which is near hole 16's tee pad. Normal OB rules for all subsequent shots on hole 15. Hole 16 is a par 4 here at Roling Knolls, measuring in at about 460 feet. The hole tapers and doglegs off to the right, where you will throw over a knoll of woods and approach a green, which is on another plateau in the short pin location. This par 4 does not have any out of bounds to speak of, other than maybe on and over the road to the right, but again, not very likely to make that. Hole 17 here at Roling Knolls. We're going to be playing to the short pin location, but this hole does have the potential to change to the extra long pin. For hole 17, there is no out of bounds. The path on the right-hand side does not play as OB, and that will be clarified again in the player meeting. The short pin measures in at about 324 feet and is a par 3. If the extra long pin is used, it is a par 4 at about 470. Finally, hole 18 here at Roling Knolls, 218-foot par 3. We're playing to the long pin location. You have a tight gap over a pond to get to a fairly open green. The out of bounds on hole 18 will be completely surrounded by water in the pond, parking lot, or on top of the building. That has been your course preview for Roling Knolls. Thank you for watching. Best of luck if you're playing in the event. Thank you for choosing the Northern Illinois Open here in 2024. And again, big thank you to the Birdbrain Disc Golf Club for the support of this event.